Good evening, everyone. This is Reading for Charity again. Just a quick review on the Sunday. It's late. I've only literally just finished the novel. But the usual spiel. This is a charity read. We're reading 100 books in a year for the Archie Foundation. It's a fantastic charity. Proud to support it. They help sick kids in the northeast of Scotland. If you've ever been into hospital yourself, you know how a terrifying experience it is as an adult. It's a horrifying experience as a child, and the Archie Foundation works hard to kind of make these kids' lives a bit easier when they have to go into hospital. Fantastic charity. That's who we're supporting. So, into the review, because I want this to be a relatively quick one. Watership Down, and for the first time I've not managed to find an image that's good enough to match the cover of the book, and I find that annoying. It annoys me. I spent a good long while trying to find the cover of this book for which way I'm pointing, that image, and I have not found one. It's annoyed me. Stupid annoyance. But anyway, Watership Down. So, like every other child who grew up in the 80s, we have all been emotionally scarred by the film Watership Down, by the horrific and graphic scenes, the literal fields of blood, the kind of god emperor rabbit surrounded by brass horse. It's a horrifying film that's allegedly for children. It's a truly, I still remember the film as kind of this massive feeling of dread and awe surrounding it. And that's, a good 30 years after I watched it. It's a truly, truly terrifying film as a child. So, I was expecting something similar out of this. I was expecting more horror out of Watership Down than I got out of Pet Sematary. That was what I expected. So I went into this one with a slight feeling of dread, more than a slight feeling of dread. What I got instead was an absolutely beautiful book. It's so much gentler and less grim than the film is. The film is so OTT. Whereas all the major scenes, such as the destruction of the original Warren by the men with the bulldozers and the gas and everything else and the guns, in the film that is just so horrifying to witness, and in the book it's done just very matter of factly. Now the rabbits have a very visceral reaction to it, but as the author, as the reader, it's just like, well, okay, yeah. That's fine. What you've written there, I understand what's going on there. Okay, no problem. And it continues on through the book. I kept waiting for the moment where, we got into descriptions of things being torn limb from limb and frothing at the mouth, etc. And there was none of it at all. Instead, there was a really, really good book. Now, I kind of mentioned on my Facebook page, just after I got about halfway through the book, that I felt that it was Lord of the Rings in essence, and definitely there is more than a little homage to a Tolkien here, because along the whole legends of whatever the name of the bunny is, can't pronounce it. It's about 17 syllables long. El Ramia, gonna guess at saying about that one. It's the legend stories were fantastic, and more than a little bit reminded me more than a little bit of kind of like the elven songs in Lord of the Rings. The flight from the original Warren as they reach their way towards the Downs it's full on Lord of the Rings. Every single beat of that story to that point is Lord of the Rings to just after Rivendell. Even with the meeting of the mice, when they save the mouse and it repays them, that is the god whose name now escapes me, and I'm going to get shouted at by about roughly 3 people from forgetting his name. Tom Bombadil. The moment with the mouse is even like the Tom Bombadil moment in the book. So it's the first part of it. The beat is very, very, very much essentially Lord of the Rings. It really, really is. The second half of the book where they're basically trying to survive. I'm trying to find the name of the god rabbit in the book, and I can't find it, and it's distressing me, it's annoying me, but I probably shouldn't be that surprised by it. Oh, El Araya? Ryra? El Arira. El Arira? Let's go for El Arira. Found it, right. The second half of the book, it's very interesting because, you know, they talk about the legendary stories that go on, talk about what a rabbit should be, you know, which is free and easy and full of tricks and full of fun and full of life, full of vitality. And then what Hazel and friends find is a series of warrens where the rabbits don't act like rabbits, and essentially those rabbits end up getting punished for them. You know, Wormwort, you know, the scary god emperor rabbit, you know, whose body is never found and becomes a thing of legend. He makes the warren act, you know, out of character for rabbits, and the other warren where the men are setting the wires who just live to die. There's another warren where the rabbits aren't acting like rabbits. So the only rabbits that you really find in the book are the ones from the original warren, you know, which ends up being, you know, Bigwig, Hazel, Silver, Fiver, even Fiver's a strange rabbit, are the only ones who act like rabbits, and in the end they are the ones who end up being the victors, if you like, of the story, because, you know, they make it through and they continue people acting like rabbits. You know, Hazel ends up having some of the stories told about him, about El Ra 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 Ra. You know, the stories about Hazel and the legendary rabbit end up getting mixed in, you know, and that's how myth and legend works. You know, someone does something, the story gets bigged up, and the story gets bigged up, and the story gets bigged up, and suddenly it becomes legend and myth and mixed in with the rest of the body of work. And you know, it's great because the legendary stories show the way that the rabbits are supposed to act, and, you know, Hazel, knowingly or unknowingly, abides to that ideal and therefore wins in inverted commas, which I found very interesting all the way through it. I mean, it's super Tolkien-esque, which is possibly why I enjoyed it so much. But it was genuinely just a lovely, far gentler book than I thought. I mean, there's plenty of death and destruction in it, but none of it is graphic. None of it needs to be graphic. And with the way the rabbits are, you know, death can come from any quarter at any time. That seems, that feels fair. You know, the snatching of a doe by a fox, which happens late on when they're running. And the rabbits kind of look to each other and go, well, okay, it's going to happen, let's move on. You know, there's no wailing or gnashing of teeth and, you know, smoting the breast. You kind of got out of the film. So yeah, the film set me up for a fall in this one, and I'm genuinely glad I read this book. I also said in my Facebook feed earlier in the week that I'm constantly surprised by how good/bad the books I've been given are. I didn't expect anything like this at Watership Down. It was brilliant, really, really, really good. And now I have a problem because I put Pet Sematary into the best book I've read of the year. And now Watership Down has come out and I'm going, actually, which one's better, Pet Sematary or Watership Down? I don't know. You should read this book. So, my usual bit. Should you read this book? Yes, you definitely should read this book. It is absolutely glorious. If you have any joy for books whatsoever, you should read this. It is nothing like the film. Nothing. If the film has put you off reading this book, forget the film. This is shoulders, heads, feet, you know, giants above the film in every way, shape or form. It's a delightful book. Delightful. And even if I read, without giving away spoilers, but the final scene, confrontation, I suppose is the better way of putting it, the final confrontation had me, you know, waiting to try and work out how they were going to get out of it. And by all rights, you know, they shouldn't have. One of the chapters is called Machina X Deus, so you know, it kind of, required a little bit of author help to get out with it. And whereas that kind of thing annoyed me in the Dark Tower, for example, which was just rife with Machina X Deus, it kind of feels appropriate in this book because Adams had led up to the Machina X Deus, because Machina X Deus is essentially just another trick, and it works and it's fine and it's good and I'm completely happy with it. I have no problem with that Machina X Deus, because despite the fact he called it as that, nah, it's fine. I'll deal with that one. That's good. So Watership Down, beautiful novel, absolutely beautiful. I really, really enjoyed this book. Please, 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 please pick it up and read it, because it's so much better than everyone thinks. It's, 778 pages long. It flew past for me when I read it. Genuinely did. I mean, I got halfway through this book and went, I don't feel like it's even half over yet. I mean, it was, but near the end, because I've read half of the book today to try and get it finished on time. I was flagging a little bit at the end, going, okay, I'm actually just ready for this book to be over now. But I was still enjoyed every single moment of it. Every single page was good. Please, please, please read this book. It is absolutely fantastic. So, next book, which will be, I'm still believe I'm a book behind, so I'm going to try read 2 before Wednesday, or at least 3 before next Sunday. That's my aim. So, The Legacy of Herod, I'm not entirely sure how you pronounce that. I will try and find that out. But that's the next one to read. I'm going to try and get that one done. 350 pages. That's at least 2 days reading. So let's hopefully see if I can get this done on Tuesday. That's going to be my aim, though I'm going to call it and say probably going to be Wednesday. So yes, that's the next book. We'll see how we get through it. But yeah, Watership Down, brilliant book, really, really brilliant book. Vying with my favourite book of the year so far. It has been that great, and that list is starting to get a little bit crowded now. Watership Down, Pet Sematary, and Wilt are probably the 3 best ones so far, all for different reasons. But I don't know if I'm going to separate them. I was going to do a top 10 books, or a number 1 book in each kind of in a few categories at the end of this. And now it's going to be really, really hard to separate what my favourite book was out of these ones. I don't know. We'll have to see. But anyway, yes. Hopefully Tuesday, probably Wednesday, will be the next review for this. Until then, this is Reading for Charity. We're reading for the Archie Foundation. It's a fantastic charity helping sick kids in the northeast of Scotland. If you've never donated before, please go ahead and do so. The Just Giving link will be in the description of this video on Twitch and on YouTube. Please donate. It's a really, really good charity to support. I will hopefully speak to you all again on Tuesday. If not, it will be Wednesday. But until then, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for listening. And good evening.